It's the 4th of August 1543, and here outside the present site of Windsor and Eton Riverside Railway Station, in the prosperous and erudite town of Windsor, 3 respected citizens are to be burnt at the stake for the then crime of heresy. A cause célèbre of the time, the tragic trio would come to be known as the Windsor Martyrs. This event in English history had everything: ecclesiastical intrigue, personal revenge, financial expediency and judicial corruption. Welcome to the story of the Windsor Martyrs. In 1540, Thomas Cromwell, Henry VIII's chief statesman and arch manipulator of the English Reformation, had been beheaded, allowing religious conservatives who were favourable to Catholic tradition to achieve power at the royal court. Into this cauldron of religious turmoil arrived Robert Testwood, musician and new cloisterer of St George's College and secret Lutheran. At this point, it must be remembered that St George's specifically, and Windsor's greatest source of income, came from pilgrim donations to the numerous shrines and relics. On one infamous day, the capricious Testwood became incensed by what he perceived as the misguided and sacrilegious prayers of these pilgrims. As a consequence, he confronted them at Henry VIII's shrine. He denounced their pilgrimages as superstitious folly and used Lutheran discourse to point out the error of their ways. Buoyed by success, he decided to chant his arm with the pilgrims congregated around the Virgin Mary statue at the high altar. During furious debate, Testwood, by accident or design, unfortunately severed the lady's nose with his key. This heinous act almost provoked a riot, and singularly failed to endear him to the college authorities and tradesmen reliant upon the pilgrim pound. Such was the spontaneous rage that some canons invoked Testwood's immediate execution. Meanwhile, during the uproar, the Virgin Mary's nose was retrieved by William Simmons, lawyer, former mayor of Windsor, and the town's most active papist. For the volatile Testwood, this would have lasting consequences. Far from being contrite, Testwood's erratic behaviour escalated. As well as joking about pilgrims, Testwood refused to carry a relic or any suggested alternative on the venerated Christian feast of Relic Sunday. More controversially, when a hymn to the Virgin Mary was being sung, he vented his contempt by introducing in the counterverse the opposite of what had just been repeated. Needless to say, the college authorities were distinctly unimpressed. Word of Testwood's antics soon reached the ears of Stephen Gardiner, Bishop of Winchester. Gardiner's sole mission in life was to hunt down anyone who cast doubt upon the 6 Articles, central to the new church's established beliefs. Remember, this is the same Stephen Gardiner who 3 years later, in 1546, would draw up a warrant demanding the arrest of the Queen of England, Catherine Parr. Gardiner, true to form, sent his most accomplished undercover agent, Dr. John London, to Windsor, where he was surreptitiously installed as one of the college canons. London infiltrated spies into the town and swiftly joined forces with William Simmons, who had his own scores to settle. Simmons informed London that Robert Testwood had numerous sympathisers. One name mentioned was Henry VIII, tailor, parish churchwarden and frequenter of the Carpenter Arms public house. On occasions, VIII had bitterly complained of the apocryphal tales of the Virgin Mary as told by his parish vicar. For this deviation, Simmons had competitively raced VIII to John Capon, Bishop of Salisbury, to put his side of the theological argument. But Simmons was humiliated when the bishop found in VII's favour. Simmons also targeted local Protestant preacher, Anthony Pearson, whose sermons were popular with Windsor crowds at St James's Church. Pearson's patrons included current Mayor of Windsor, William Snowball, and Philip Holby, English ambassador to the Holy Roman Empire. Other victims of Simmons' religious zeal included Robert Bennett, his own friend and fellow lawyer, and former Mayor of Windsor. Another was John Marbeck, then famous organist at the Royal Chapel. Marbeck was targeted for illegal religious writings found in his lodgings, after a search for heretical works were undertaken. Under the terms of the 6 Articles, the 5 accused were all committed to the Bishop of Winchester's jail in Southwark, appropriately named the Clink. The date of the trial was fixed for the 26th of July. Because Dr. London couldn't find 12 papists in Windsor to sit on the jury, the tenant farmers of the Dean of Windsor, William Franklin, were summoned to attend. In these less than ideal judicial conditions, all the accused were found guilty, but only after William Simmons, intimidated the jury. All condemned were sentenced to be burnt at the stake. However, Bishop Gardiner obtained a pardon for Marbeck, whose musical abilities he admired. Bennett's execution was postponed due to ill health, and in the Christian spirit of brotherly love, Symonds later acquired a pardon for Bennett. On the same day, the Windsor Martyrs were escorted through the town to a field below the castle walls, at the site of Riverside Station. Movingly, the trio of Filmer, Pearson and Testwood expressed absolute confidence in their passage to heaven and meekly yielded themselves to their fiery fate. The aftermath of these bloody events had profound consequences for those involved in the prosecution of the case. Chief persecutors Symonds and London, aka the Minister of Satan, as John Foxe would describe him in his 1563 Book of Martyrs, sought out further Berkshire heretics. However, both were oblivious that their immediate fall from grace was imminent. Shortly after, in the royal hunting ground of Guildford Park, Henry VIII met Sheriffs Sir William Barentine and Sir Humphrey Forster, and inquired whether justice had been seen to be done in Windsor. Barentine and Forster declared it against their personal consciences to condemn the martyrs. In response, Henry reputedly exclaimed, "Alas, poor innocents," and upon his own return to Windsor, ordered the arrests of London and Symonds. Subsequently, both were convicted of perjury and sentenced to stand erect in the pillory. They were then ridden around the towns of Windsor, Reading and Newbury, with paper hats on their heads inscribed with their offences, and with their faces towards the horses' tails. Divine justice, some might say, for those responsible for creating the tragic protagonists known to history as the Windsor Martyrs. If you found this video interesting, you may be interested in my book, Walking Britain and Ireland, East Berkshire, which includes a walk in historic Windsor, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook format. Links below.